Hello and welcome to Flashback, a weekly look at stories from years gone by. In an age where the housing market can seemingly sell them faster than they can put the for sale sign down, believe it or not, this wasn't always the case. Yes, in the Northwest, it wasn't good for those in the housing market and they longed for better days. But with prices nearly a third of what they're worth today, I'm sure we can all long for those better prices once again. Let's reminisce now and look at this piece from the year 2000.
Although it isn't exactly out of the woods yet, the real estate agents we talked to in Prince Rupert say the market has improved at least a little bit.
Well, sales are still slow compared to 1995 and 96 when our market was substantially better. We've received about 190 sales so far this year as of October 31st based on our board statistics that we receive. So the market's gone up a little bit in some price ranges, in others it has dropped a little.
I believe that we're now approaching the bottom of a business cycle which began at its height in 1995, of October of 95, and reaching pretty close to the 5-year out of 7 bottom in that cycle. There's a natural propensity for the market to want to correct itself.
Currently, there are about 190 pieces of property listed for sale in the city. About 180 of them are residential. The average price for a residential property in the market is $124,000.
Probably about 53% of our sales have been anything around $100,000 or lower. And that market being a little bit busier makes a difference in the market. The higher price ranges, anything over $200,000, only 7% of our sales so far this year have come from that price range, and consequently that's the area that's hit the most.
You know, in fairness, the properties that are selling are ones that have been listed right, and so there's perceived value. Lots of resistance over 200, so there's not been too much of the upscale properties moving. But again, I think pretty much throughout the range there's been a smattering of activity.
Basically, Prince Rupert is a buyer's market. Preste says those buying into the market are getting a lot more for their dollars.
They're getting a lot more for the dollar today than they would have, say, 5 years ago. You know, 5 years ago, the first home buyer was probably looking at a wartime, upgraded wartime, or perhaps a semi-detached, or perhaps a manufactured home in Hayesville. Now that same buyer for the same kind of money can look at a 15, maybe 20-year-old home in Pine Ridge. You know, 3 bedrooms, couple of bathrooms, fireplace. You know, so they're getting a lot more bang for the buck.
Property prices have also drawn interest from outside of the city as buyers speculate on the future of the North Coast's economy.
What we see happening is money coming back into BC from Alberta. And the main speculators, and the most encouraging news I could give, would be that Albertans, having made significant gains in their investments in Alberta, are now sensing the peak there and are going to funnel that money back into BC. And that's good news for us.
And I think there's still a number of people who believe in Rupert's long-term potential. And I've had calls from, as far east as Toronto, on the apartment blocks that were offered here. And so, like me, I think there are people out there who believe that Mr. Hayes' vision will come.
As for the future of the real estate market in Prince Rupert, like its downfall, the agents we spoke to believe its recovery is tied to the economy.
We're not a Gold River. We're not a Chetwynd. We're not a Tassus. We're a single industry town where when the single industry goes, the town folds up its sidewalks and goes somewhere. We've got the diversity of fishing and logging and the port and the terminals, the grain and coal, and sure, all of them don't look as good today as they did 5 years ago, but I don't think they're going to go away.